When the original Assassin's Creed released in 2007, I had no idea that I was setting out on a journey that would still be going almost 2 decades later. Now with Assassin's Creed Shadows just around the corner, I was lucky enough to be invited to an early preview event thanks to the team at Ubisoft. And with new characters, dynamic environments, and a whole collection of new weapons to use, Assassin's Creed Shadows is shaping up to be a huge evolution of the series set in a world that feels more alive than ever. Well, mostly. Taking place in 1579 and beyond, Assassin's Creed Shadows will follow the intertwining stories of Samurai Yasuke and Shinobi Naoe during the Azuchi Momoyama period of feudal Japan. Given their different backgrounds, it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic between the two develops and evolves over the course of the story. And for me, this focus on dual leads is one of the most exciting new changes in Shadows. Now, the ability to choose between different protagonists isn't an entirely new idea in the world of Assassin's Creed. If we head all the way back to the Industrial Revolution and Syndicate, Jacob and Evie Fry were a force to be reckoned with. Although they weren't too mechanically distinct, you could still switch between them in the open world, and contrary to popular belief, they were also instrumental in testing the aerodynamic potential of horses. But Shadows represents a significant shift, with the ability to not only switch between protagonists dynamically, but to also use Yasuke and Naoe's individual strengths to take completely different paths through almost every mission in the game. The preview that I saw showed the same mission play out in 3 separate ways, and the dev team emphasized just how much freedom you have as a player to forge your own path. Until that point, I don't think I really understood just how different Yasuke and Naoe really were.
We can sneak in.
Or just through the front gate.
And that's not to say that Yasuke can't try to be stealthy and Naoe can't wield a blade, because this is an Assassin's Creed game, so of course they can. But each character has strengths and weaknesses. They have different gear, different tools, and different gameplay styles that make sense for the samurai and shinobi archetypes. One of the details that stood out to me the most is just how hard Yasuke hits. His strikes have this undeniable weight behind them that we haven't really seen in the series before. They're powerful, deliberate, so incredibly visceral, and can quite literally send enemies in armor flying. Even Eivor from Valhalla, who I've always seen as this unstoppable Viking berserker, couldn't hope to land hits with this kind of ferocity. But then again, I guess Yasuke can't exactly ride a rainbow bear into battle either. Unless... Ubisoft? Even amongst the rest of the Assassin's Creed roster, Yasuke really does feel like he's in a league of his own here. Whether he's hitting with the kanabo, slicing with the okatana, or pioneering interstellar rocket propulsion systems with the teppo. On the other side of this, we have Naoe, who approaches her targets with a calm confidence and very much takes up the mantle of the traditional assassin role in Shadows. She's strong and skillful, but she doesn't have the same kind of raw power that Yasuke wields. She also isn't anywhere near as heavily armored, meaning that facing multiple enemies at once can pose a very real threat. As well as a katana, we've seen Naoe wield a kusarigama, a hidden blade, and some very accurately aimed kunai. And while she uses the kunai for long-range attacks, I prefer to use them for short-range refreshment. Naoe is a master at using the environment to her advantage, so much so that the mission we saw started to look more like a playground than a traditional assassination. There were points in the presentation where I noticed other opportunities for a stealthy approach, and I really got the feeling that the devs have gone out of their way to give us a huge number of options here. One of the newest stealth mechanics is the ability to go prone to stay out of sight. Being a shinobi, Naoe has a relatively easy time of this and disappears from view almost immediately. Although we haven't seen gameplay footage just yet, it's also been confirmed that Yasuke can attempt to do the same thing. And I use the word attempt very intentionally because apparently it doesn't always go as planned. I love that they're taking a more realistic approach to this because it makes sense that a towering samurai in full armor is going to have a much harder time sneaking around. And unless Yasuke wants to be breaking out the WD-40 every 2 steps, it's not going to be quiet. This same approach to realism has also been carried across to Naoe's grappling hook, which is entirely physics-based. And with me at the helm, well, it's gonna go exactly the way you'd expect. And on top of all of this, Ubisoft have gone above and beyond in creating a world that's vibrant and lived in. The towns and landscapes all feel authentic, and everything that I've seen so far just makes me want to explore them. Light and dark, seasons, and dynamic weather all affect how you'll interact with the environment around you, and they create completely different opportunities for infiltration and stealth. It's clear to see that the devs have put so much time and consideration into crafting an incredible experience here. Whether you're sneaking through the shadows or launching enemies into space, Assassin's Creed Shadows invites you to take advantage of all of the tools at your disposal, and that makes me so excited for launch.
We should go.
Not before we charge through the front gate.